Hey guys, Metal Driver here today with an Elite 89 Bobby Lashley review. On the side, you see an image of Lashley. Then on the back, you see another image of Lashley, a brief bio, career highlights, a description of this figure, and the rest of the figures that are in this wave. Alright, so that was the box. Let's go ahead and open this figure up and take a closer look at Bobby Lashley. Alright, and here we have the almighty Bobby Lashley out of the packaging. But before we take a look at the figure, let's look at the accessories that he comes with. And he actually only comes with one accessory, that's the WWE Championship belt. Now we have seen this design many times before with several figures, so it's nothing brand new, although it does appear they're using a cheaper type of plastic, or maybe at least the coloring. It does seem a bit different than previous versions, so as you can see on the back, that plastic doesn't look as good, at least the color of the gold. It reminds me of the type of belts that they would release with some of the basics in the past. So comparing that with a previous version that was released, yeah, the gold on the older version of the belt just looks a little brighter, a little shinier. This one with Bobby Lashley looks a bit duller. And then looking at the plastic on the back, yeah, you can see the difference. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, it's not the end of the world, so it's whatever. But it is worth noting. And then he doesn't come with any interchangeable hands, which is disappointing. Don't know why they didn't include at least the pointing hands. That would have been perfect for this Bobby Lashley figure. And then taking a look at the head sculpt, it is pretty decent. I don't think it's necessarily the best, but it isn't bad either. I think the paint looks good on the eyes, the eyebrows, and the lips. It definitely conveys that angry, mean heel version of Lashley. So I think overall it looks pretty good for this figure. I think it certainly looks better at different angles than looking at it from the front. Looking at the body, it is pretty bulky, which is the way it should look, although I would say that probably could have used maybe a bigger upper body because Lashley is a big guy. He does have the double-jointed elbows that a lot of the newer Elite figures have, so that is really good. Looking at the tights, the paint looks really good here near the top. The line work looks really good, nice and crisp. The gold here looks pretty good. Looking at the back, looks pretty solid. I like how that looks. Look at the side of the tights on the legs. You've got this Bobby Lashley silhouette here doing his pose with the fingers pointed out. Again, we should have gotten those hands with this figure as interchangeable hands. It sucks that we don't, but whatever. The line work looks really good around the silhouette. Paint looks pretty good. Doesn't seem to be sloppy. Maybe just some slight imperfections here and there, but not a big deal. Then here on the side, on the right side, you've got the Hurt Business here. Lettering looks really good. Nice, good line work. Just some slight imperfections in minor areas, but not a big deal. Then look at the boots. You've got these white straps here, which are painted decently enough. There are some spots where the white line work is very fuzzy looking, especially on this side here. But other than that, it looks pretty decent. I do like the tight design. Good paint work. Overall, looks pretty solid. Then going over the articulation, head is on, ball joint can look pretty high up. Looks that far down. Head can turn side to side and tilt pretty well, actually. Shoulder goes that high up. It can rotate all the way around. Biceps swivel. It has double jointed elbows. It is hindered a bit by this elbow pad, but the elbow here on the left arm, much better range of motion. A swivel and hinge at the wrist. Ab crunch allows him to go that far forward, that far back, waist swivel. Ball joints at the hips, legs go that far out, they go that high up. Thigh cut. Double jointed knees, a cut at the top of the boot, ankle goes that high up, goes that far down, so really good range there, and he has some pretty decent ankle pivot. That's actually not too bad. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on Elite 89 Bobby Lashley? Well, I'll admit, I don't have any other Lashley figures, and when he won the WWE Championship, I was so happy for him because I was a big fan of his, especially when he first started in the WWE, and I was kicking myself that I did not have a Lashley figure in my collection, so I am so glad that they released a new one, especially with double-jointed elbows, so I'm glad I have him. Although I will say that I am a little bit disappointed. He's not a terrible figure, he's not that great either, but I think this is just decent. I feel like Mattel kind of dropped the ball a little bit. They've kind of went a little bit lazy. I mean, not to include some interchangeable hands, especially the pointing one, seems to be a pretty big miss in my opinion. The paint on the championship belt, whether it's the plastic, the molding, or the paint that they use, just makes it seem a little cheaper than the previous belts that we have. So for those reasons, it does make me feel a bit disappointed, but I'm still happy that I have it. I think if you're an idiot like me who doesn't have any other Lashley figures, I think this is a good one to pick up. And even if you do have some of the older ones, I think it's still pretty decent enough to get in your collection, since it is a more updated and current look for him. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. And also go check out my last video that I uploaded, which was a tour of my figure room. Seems like a lot of you enjoyed that video, and shout out to Rob's Pippin Road for leaving a comment asking and suggesting what are my top 10 rock videos. So I don't know, that could possibly be a video idea. I've actually never done any top 10 videos. So if you're interested in content like that, leave a comment down below. Follow me on social media to be up to date with all my wrestling figure photography. And I'll see you next time.